Last year, I spent thousands of dollars and probably 100+ hours doing things that I thought were getting me closer to my FPV goals, but in reality were just pulling me back the exact opposite way. So going into 2024, I made 3 major changes that not only made my goals achievable, but actually made them easily achievable. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I did so you can go and crush your FPV goals going into 2025. First of all, it's the damn drones. You'll have to excuse the drawing of the drone there, I know it's terrible. But it's the damn drones. So you see, in 2023, I found that, I was just getting into this YouTube game, I started getting sent some FPV drones, and I was like, oh man, I need to start reviewing FPV drones. So, started buying more drones, and you know what that did for me? Not what I thought it would. I thought having more drones is gonna give me more options to fly with different things and different environments with different people, but the reality is it did the exact opposite. So this past year, 2024, I have said no thank you to sponsorships and collaborations and even just buying new drones in general. I bought a couple for review purposes only, but other than that, I've been saying no to new drones. And my reasoning is pretty damn simple. You see, when you start picking up new drones, you get really excited about them, and then you end up, learning how to fly it. You gotta learn how to configure it, set it up, you gotta connect it to your controller. It's got a different feel to it. It flies with different goggles that you've now got to go and set up. It's just a whole bunch of new stuff to learn, and when you do that on a regular basis, even just 4 times a year, say, every 3 months you get a new drone, you are absolutely killing any progress that you could be making if you stuck to just one drone. So, the start of this year, I used this drone, my 533 racing drone that I built, and instead of flying a whole bunch of new different drones, I flew this drone pretty much exclusively for about 2 to 3 months. Now, what that allowed me to do was focus exactly on how this drone performs, exactly what it does in certain situations, and I knew what I needed whenever I went out with it. I wasn't like, oh man, I've left that battery at home for this pair of goggles. It was simple. I could just hone my skills on one singular drone, and in doing that, I don't actually think I've ever seen myself grow as a pilot more than when I was just focused on one singular drone. So the lesson here is actually extremely simple. Stop buying. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Yeah? It's gonna save you money, it's gonna save you time, and it's gonna make you so much more of a better pilot as well. So it really makes sense. Stop buying new drones unless you literally are at the limits of that drone or you need a very specific drone for a very specific purpose. Most of us don't. Most of us just love flying for fun. Stop buying. So that then moves us on to change number 2 that I made this year. It's time to do it. Time to do it. Very vague title. Going into 2024, I decided that I wanted to challenge myself and meet new people. Those were a couple of the big goals that I had for the year. So I signed myself up for the New Zealand National Race event, NZO, and of course I went along to that event. But that's not the point of this. The point is what came out of it. Because I had to train, and this is what I was using the 533 drone for, because I had to train consistently, I ended up hanging out with my mates who, believe it or not, are like-minded people. And when you hang out with like-minded people who also like learning and progressing their skills, you find one thing. You start to fly faster because now you're learning off of them and you're getting competitive with them too. So you're actually pushing yourself further than you would be if you're just flying alone or just flying for no particular reason. And I wasn't even necessarily trying to fly faster. I just ended up flying faster by proxy of hanging out with like-minded people. Throughout all this learning as well, with hanging out with these like-minded people, I ended up gaining a lot more confidence in both myself as a pilot, but also the drones that I was flying, or the drone that I was flying. And so in doing so, I was starting to try some freestyle tricks out and even just try out some different racing techniques and stuff. Things that I probably wouldn't have had the confidence to do had I just been, flying for no particular reason. But then the third and probably the most important thing, the thing that I'm actually missing right this very moment at the end of this year, which is interesting to reflect on, but at the start of this year, I have never, not once, been so damn excited to be within the FPV hobby space. Like, I was ecstatic about going out for every single flight I could, training for the event, getting excited, trying something new, and that's probably been the pinnacle so far of my FPV drone journey. There is so much more to come, of course. However, right this very moment, I am not at that same level of excitement for the hobby as I was in the middle of training, in the middle of hanging out with these people, in the middle of actually going to NZO, the event. And damn, can I just even mention here too, that going to NZO, going to a national drone race event where there are 30 other people or so, all flying around, 30 FPV drones around, man, that is an experience that you can't actually explain with words. You just have to be there, feel it, and experience it. You can't get that anywhere else. So you need to just do it and sign up for it. Exclamation mark. Sign up for the event. Do it. It'll be the best decision that you ever make. Then number 3, this one could be a little controversial, but I promise you I'm not having a dig at you. You know less than you think you know. I am awfully sorry for that, right? Can you even read that? I don't think I can read that. You know less than you think that you actually know. I promise you I'm not taking a dig at you here. This is pure experience. If I could sum up 2024 in one singular word, it would have to be learning. And this of course goes for outside of FPV, but I want to bring you guys exactly what happened within FPV to actually help this whole thing come together. The big change that I made that actually made me hit my goals. You see, I made 2 different mindset changes that enabled me to take this you know less than you think that you actually know mindset into consideration. The first part was I decided to go into the year with an open mind and actually think, yeah, maybe I don't know everything that I think I know. You know, I was kind of climbing up a little bit of Mount Stupid, if you ever know the Dunning-Kruger effect. I was going up Mount Kruger. I was going up Mount Stupid and I wasn't at the top. Don't get me wrong, I've already been up top of Mount Stupid, but I was kind of backtracking a little bit and going back up there, and we don't want that. So I humbled the heck out of myself and just went, you know what, you don't know anything, Brody. And saying that back then would even be an understatement because I look at it now. The Brody that went into 2024, the start of this year, is an entirely different Brody to the one standing here right now talking with you. So different. But what I had to do to get this was 1, have an open mind, super duper important. But 2, take action. It is way too easy to have an open mind, learn all this stuff, and you could listen to your FPV buddy be like, hey, I think you need to slow down a little bit. Just going around that corner because you're losing the control, you're not actually quite getting it as you could be, or maybe they're teaching you to do a new trick and they're like, hey, maybe if you just went up a little bit higher, or maybe if you did this. You listen to these suggestions and you take no action, that's when things get a little bit like, are you really learning? And I would say, no, you're not. So to learn effectively, you need to have an open mind, you don't know everything, and 2, you need to take action. And what this could look like is you learn something new about racing. The next time you go out racing, you don't do the same habits that you've been doing the entire time, and instead, you take action and you try that new thing. You try the new slower technique. You try flying that little bit slower through the gates, or you try that trick a little bit slower so you can understand the stick movement. And in doing so, you reach the final stage of that bit, which is actually completing the action and getting the reward of being better. So to sum that bit up, it's pretty simple. Learn. And maybe I'm gonna learn how to do some better writing, because that says learn, apparently. Learn. Now if you're there thinking, what am I meant to learn? Well, I have great news for you. I've actually made a 3-hour-long video here that teaches you exactly how to get started within the FPV drone hobby. Everything you need to learn, action, and actually do is within that video. So go have a watch of that, and we'll see you very soon.